Well, happy Mother's Day to all my sisters all over the world. I'm back on station. Uh, in honor of my mother, Amanda Morris, Amanda Williams Morris. My mother was my first teacher. She was a strong woman, for she had 10 children. And my mother said when she was having my last sister, and she said the doctors were talking about she couldn't have no more children because it would affect her mind or something like that. So my mother said, I ain't studying them doctors. I came on home. But anyway, I remember my mother when we went to mother and said, Mother, can I do so and so and so and so? She said, no. No, she didn't say no. She said, go see what your father said. When you went to my father, he would say, what did your mother say? They would bounce you back and forth. It wasn't playing mother against father from the child's point. That's what I'm trying to get at. So going on, my mother never drove. And one day we all in the car, we went on a picnic. When we went to a picnic, my father carried two big pots, one with rice and one with curry, chicken curry, lamb curry, whatever kind of curry. And we went, I don't know where we went, but my father got sick. So we got in the car and my mother drove to the hospital. So when my father came home, he said, Manda, how you drive? She said, I watch you. That was the way my mother and father was. But it was 10 of us, five boys and five girls. The four girls were older than the five boys, and then we had one sister, the baby sister, her name was Scheherazade. But I I have pictures in my room of all my mother, father, every brothers and sisters, and every morning I wake up and I talk to the ancestors. And well, actually, my brother, I lost him 3 years ago, and he was living in Brooklyn on the Indian reservation, no, Long Island, and on the Indian reservation. Uh, his wife, mother, was the American Indian, so they got 2.5 acres or whatever, and they were on the Indian reservation. But her father was from Spain, Spanish, or whatever. Name, Adele Monin married Russell Morris, and I look over the years, the, 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 the things that my mother, like for instance, if we were out in the street playing, and one time my window got broke, and my mother said, "So and so and so son did it." I said, "No, mother, we youngsters out there throwing rocks, we don't know where that ball rock will hit." But I wasn't being disrespectful. I was just telling my mother, the way, and that's the way I am today. I wasn't being there. I love my mother, and she raised us. And it was my older sister was Hazel. She was married 32 years. My next sister, Mary, Mary Vicky, that's why I stalled. She was named after my great grandmother, Mary Davis. But when she got to be a teenager or whatever, she changed her name to Vicky. Because whenever the guys would call my house, looking for my older sister called herself Mickey, and my sister Mary called herself Vicky. And so when they would call, he said, "No goddamn Vicky, no goddamn Mickey here." He didn't want to be bothered with them. Then there's my sister Tima. Mildred, and we all have dual names. Anyway, those three were married, were born in Philadelphia. That's when my father come to America, and then he met my mother, and that's when. Then we moved from Philadelphia to Brooklyn. That's when my mother had the rest of us gangsters. That's my brother Ibrahim, and he got a tribe of his own now. And my brother, that's me, Anthony Jamal. Then I miss my backup, my sister Tima and my sister Mina. And Mina and Tima married two brothers. The Morris girls married the Moses boys. And go on down, well, I think my brother-in-law, my sister Tima, was married to her husband. I think it was 52 years before he passed away. And well, then come to after my brother Ibrahim, and he had over 17 children. He was a Muslim. He practiced Muslim, and he had about 17 children. Then comes down to me. I'm next. I'm number six. So, and I have six children. And then my next is my brother Pedro. He had two or three. Then my next brother is no, my brother Russell. And then he had about seven or eight. He even had one. His father went to the gambling joint one time, and when he was leaving, the guy said, "Hey, you're leaving your son." He said, "That ain't my son." He said, "Well, take him with you anyway." And my brother took him and raised him. That's a true story. Then after Bobby, then me, then Bobby, then Pedro. He had three rather. Then my baby sister, she didn't. No, my brother George, he was a brain surgeon, big liar. But that was my brother. Then we had my baby sister Shahrazad. She didn't have no children. And out of the 10 of us, 4 of us went into the army. I went to Korea. My brother Russell went to Germany. My brother Pedro, he stayed in Brooklyn taking care of radar things. And my baby sister went to Okinawa. We weren't patriotic. We were just needy. That was the way to, well, open doors little ways. And but from that, our first teaching, we used to sit at the table. We didn't have, well, my father was a Mohammedan. My mother was a so-called Christian. But when we sat down to dinner, my father said his prayer, and on this breath, my mother said out loud, "Thank you, Father." Okay, I'm watching, I'm listening. But then I went into the army, and we were online. And when we on Sunday to get off a line for a day, we would say we're going to church. I didn't go nowhere near no church because that wasn't my cup of tea. And then I would go to the red like the rest of the guys, get drunk, and when we come back, we go through the routine of being fired on, shooting, and carrying on for the day. That was our way to get off the line. Then I came home, and no, backing up. When I went in the army, we lived in 375 Lexington. This is all around stemming from my mother. So my mother goes to the housing authority in New York, Brooklyn, and they were, you had to fight like we fighting today to better our conditions. So my mother went down there and she said, my son's in Korea and she wanted to get into Kingsborough projects. And I got and Jay-Z and them guys, they were living in the Marcy projects. We were in the Kingsborough projects. And I have a cousin. We were in the first wall, and my cousin mother was in the fourth wall. She's still there after all these years. That's 19. When my mother and them got in there, it was around in 51. Okay, that she still got the apartment there on the fourth walk in the Kingsborough project. But that this has been in our lives. Some people be quiet about it. I'm just being outspoken about it because I see the condition that we are being treated. I'll give you a living example. It was 10 of us in Hell's Kitchen in Brooklyn. My brother got in trouble. My oldest brother, Ibrahim. And my mother was sitting at the 79th precinct. She said, "You're not going to whoop my son." And she sat there. So after he go to court and get his time, he got 2 years in Hampton Farms. And my mother said to him, "I see your son when you get home." Mama wasn't lying. That's what I'm trying to get at. The parents today, the children get into them places and they put money on their books and all that stuff. She gave him enough time to think about when he got out, don't never go back. Because at the end of all my podcasts, I say slavery was a crime against humanity. Now you know how bad they treat you on the outside. Now when they got you confined to one place where you can be all the time, that's a horrible thing. That was the reason why I walked the straight and narrow. When I see the clowns doing something, I went the other way. Just like now, this brother that got killed the other day, and 2 months ago, and they just bringing it out. In the car, the guy that's following is clicking it, pulling a bullet in the chamber of a pistol in his car. He's videotaping what's happening. Now, I ain't going to tell you what's going to be the rest of that story because you know what's going to happen. They brought us here in the bottom of them boats. And then they give us a God, Jesus. And oh Jesus this and oh Jesus that. Well, what were we getting from it? We were a spiritual people in Africa. Then they brought us here, worked us to death. Now they don't want us here. And we the only ones in this country they can't put out because they falsely brought us here. And everything they do, this clown that's in the White House. I was born and raised in New York. And all them people, they come here and they come here poor, then they end up rich. And then they want to deny me to be rich like them. So they put all kind of blocks in the way. I was a general contractor for 22 years. And every time one of my own people didn't want to pay me, they found an excuse not to pay me. So they said they didn't like the work or they didn't want to, whatever, so they didn't have to pay me. And my podcast, I tell about it. I'm talking about what happened to me so that I can prevent my brothers and sisters and brothers to not go into that trap. And I'm saying I'm not talking about don't give me a quarter. I'm not doing this for no money. I'm doing this from the heart that God put in my body. My mother and my father, my first teachers. My father didn't say go be a Muslim. He said go be good, which is universal. Yeah, I tell on one of my podcasts I got arrested. So if you shoot me, that's the only thing you can come up with. I was flirting with some girls. That's why I got a ticket and I didn't pay for it. So I went to Warren. So eventually, that's why I went to jail. All right, I say it again. But I have grandchildren and great grandchildren. You will fall into the trap. You go on a job, you learn your job, you do your job, you go home, don't get tight with people because you don't know what they're going to do to you. Cut your throat. As an employer, I used to, if a guy come to me and told me about another guy, I said, wait a minute, we get him over here so we all talk it out. That way you stop all this backbiting. Yeah, I'm talking about how people did. I had a guy, I had him to do something, and then he was with me a week, not even a week. He goes downtown and say he had a hernia. He got a hernia on my job. I was trying to be a Christian at one time. I became the chairman of the trustee board. This guy was used to say, Brother Barnes, you got any work for me? I said, when I find something you can do, I'll get you. We were putting up gutters. He was holding it up. What's on the other end? He come down the ladder, 2 steps from the bottom. He falls. $10,000 later, and he's in the church right beside with the communion. What kind of God are we serving? See, the God I serve should have slapped the crap out of him. When you do somebody hurtful, when he didn't do nothing for you, it will help you. And let them say, anybody say what they want to say. My heaven and hell is here. It is right here in this physical body. Because nobody have died and come back and say will swing wherever they are. And I'm gonna get off the bandwagon because I'm talking just about my mama. Boy, that lady, boy, she'd make strawberry shortcakes. I mean, she put 3 layers of the cake. She would put the whole strawberry, then cut them in half. She put them there. And whenever she cooked like she was cooking for kings and queens. That was the way her heart was. We didn't have no washing machine. My mother washed on her fingers, and all her fingers were bent at the end from scrubbing on them scrub boards. Oh, she was a great soldier. And I thank her every day of my life for the guidance she gave me. And my grandmother, Ruby Williams. Well, when my father come to my great grandmother had a rooming house there in Philadelphia. And when he comes there, they would put a white card in the door that they had rooms for rent. And my father come there and he did like this. He wanted a room. He was a merchant seaman. It landed in Philadelphia, and that's where he jumped ship. And my mama didn't make no better. She ripped up his seaman papers when they got married so that he wouldn't go back to sea and make another family somewhere else. He said, I'm going to fix you. You're going to stay here with me, brother. And he did. And so then he couldn't get along with my grandmother, Ruby, because I guess Ruby figured my father was born in 1892. My mother was born in my sister said she was born in 1909 or 8, but the census said that she was born in 1902. So, but anyway, so then my great grandmother, Ruby's mother, Mary Davis. So she married Anthony Davis. That's who she named me after. And when she came to visit, and my brother and sister was bothering me, she said, your children, leave that boy alone. Of course, I was named after her husband. And I remember my great grandmother fixing she knew that my father didn't allow pork in the house. So she had some lamb and she made a lamb stew because she respected my father for his being a foreigner and different things. And he lived a lie, and right today I'm trying to find out. But anyway, but then Mary Davis, his mother, was Rachel Jackson. I follow her back to 1828. So that's the lines that I'm telling all my niece and nephew. They call me, and I'm the last person that I know all this stuff. So I have a nephew called me the other day, and he said he seen me on the podcast, and he said, "You look just like my father." I said, "Of course, that's my brother. I loved him." And you would we were we were we were taught to love one another, and we did love one another. Whenever I went to visit my family, I would like my brother-in-law. When I got out the army, I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my brother-in-law was working at the American Airlines. So me and my sister painted the living room. We painted a little green, I don't know. And so my brother-in-law had a 1929 Ford out in the driveway. So my sister, she said, "Well, let's go out there and paint Roy's car." We painted Roy's car, and when Roy got home, he said, "Tima, why you do that?" He was such a beautiful person. He didn't. So anyway, whilst I was there visiting, my brother-in-law was cleaning up churches, or all them churches in Tulsa. And so he was getting ready to leave. I said, "Where you going, Roy?" He said, "I'm going to clean up the church. I got my job. I said, second job." So I said, "I'll come and help you." So when we got over there, big old place, all these metal chairs, Roy taking 4 in each arm or whatever. And I said, "I only can take 2 in each arm." He said, "Do the best you can." And so I went to Langston, and Langston, under the GI, they had a place over there that guys that been in the army, even though they hadn't went to college, high school, but it was a place for veterans. So then when Christmas came around, I just went back, and I traveled back and forth, and I got a lot of information from my great uncles in Philadelphia. My Uncle Cliff, my Uncle Waddy, my Uncle Boss, and they were staying in the Diamond Projects there in Philadelphia. So anybody that listen to any of my part and hear anything of it, and you know anything about the Davis family, get in contact with me so we can talk about it. Maybe I got a lot of kinfolk. I do have a cousin in Philadelphia named Ida Davis. Her mother's name was Marie. So I've been looking for her, trying to find her ever since last time I seen her was 1948 when my sister Tima got married. And but like I say, I have a story, and that's the reason why I started this pod. When this so-called virus get through, I'm gonna have people come over. I got 1, 2, 3 microphones, 4, and we're gonna talk about tell our stories, what we hear, like me telling it now. So anyway, I'm gonna say it again to honor all my sisters, mothers, and those that don't have no children, that have cousins, nieces, and nephews that help try to guide their lives. God, God gonna take care of you. And when I don't use that word freely, what I mean is the God I serve. In Africa, we had 27 rules, which they broke it down to when we got on the slave ship, they broke it down to 10. But all I say to our slave masters, just remember 2 of them. Thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt not lie. Because every time they go to court, they say they were fear for their life. Well, if you fear for your life, then damn it, get you another job. But There's a sister got a book this morning. I listened on the radio, on TV, about the 1916 project. And that's how my projects, my podcast started. We were brought here in 16, well, more 14 really, but 1619 to 19 to 2019. 400 years. That's the reason why now I tell all my brothers and sisters, if you think I'm lying, turn on African channels and listen exactly what the Africans are saying, how they have been put in a trick bag. So here we are over there where they stole us from, and here we are over here. We're in the same trick bag. So let's get together. Let's love one another and try to help one another. If you can't help each other, don't say nothing. But just remember, slavery was a crime against humanity. Yesterday, today, and forever. Thank you, Mother, for letting me have this breath for 86 years. Thank you, Mother, for standing by me. Thank you, Mother, for being a mother to me. And through my mother and father's seed, all my nieces and nephews, we are all over this country. Not only under Morris. Morris was not our name, but like I say, my father did. He wasn't, I'm gonna explain the story as I go along, so you'll get it. So that's the end of my podcast for today. I love you all that love me for what I'm saying that you might not say. Thank you very much.